We have Varun Goel of Motilal Oswal who also joins in. Varun, hi, afternoon. I wanted your thoughts on Lupin. It's been, a big driver because of the news flow yesterday. At 1630, would you still recommend a buy on this name?
Well, I think as far as large cap pharma is concerned, we believe that they've all gone through their own US FDA issues in the last 1.5 years, because of which some kind of growth has been compromised. But we remain quite positive on the overall India pharma outsourcing opportunity. India already exports around $15 billion worth of pharmaceutical products. Our sense is it is going to double in the next 7 to 8 years. All the tier 1 pharma companies, we believe, are best geared to take advantage of this opportunity. Of course, in the short term, there are some regulatory issues, some US FDA issues, but I think these companies are well equipped to address them and get back on the growth path.
Okay, Varun, hi, good afternoon. What about Cadila in particular? Do you have a call on that stock?
Well, as I said, generally we believe pharma space, we have seen starting from the tier 1 players, the tightening of regulations by US FDA has hurt most of the players in the industry. And I think now Indian companies are getting far more aggressive. They have hired consultants. They are making sure that the best practices, as recommended by the US regulators, are gradually getting adopted. Of course, in some cases it is taking a little longer than what was previously expected. But on the whole, we believe the sector as such should do well. Of course, one has to pick and choose in terms of management quality and the kind of pipeline of products which are expected to be launched in the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, some stocks are surging now. 1% beverages. Let's pull out the intraday chart of that one. Make Money Organics is the other one that you can see at the bottom of your screen as well. Snowman Logistics is up 5.5%, and probably your stock of the day today has to be 8K Mile Software. That's up 12% post our interview and decent set of numbers. So that stock is now up about 12%. SP Tulsian is also with us. Mr. Tulsian, good afternoon. First, a word on 8K Mile Software, and if you took a look at the numbers and your call on the stock.
Anuj, numbers are definitely good, but if you see the kind of volatility, if you plot the chart of the stock maybe for last 6 months and the kind of volatility you see, maybe when you talk to few analysts and all that, they also have some kind of what you call linear kind of performance seen to be seen with a growth of over next maybe 3 or 4 quarters. So taking all this into consideration, I don't think that this stock deserves a buy now at the current price, and in fact I will advise maybe profit booking those who are holding the stock, because the kind of volatility which we see in the share price can make can see it correcting by maybe about 100 rupees or so in the next 1 month or so.
All right. In fact, we did speak to the management of 8K Miles a while back. Here's Suresh Venkatachari, the chairman and CEO, saying that the company has added 4 healthcare and 2 pharma customers, and that's what's led to a better bottom line and a top line performance. Listen in.
Our margin is actually, EBITDA is actually around 35% this quarter compared to last quarter 30%. We were actually consistently delivering around 34-35% across several quarters. And last quarter, we have increased our headcount. So that is the reason of a little dip. And this quarter, we are able to deploy the resources into the projects. And also, our Cloud Easy is producing more revenue, sustainable revenue from our large pharma accounts. This quarter, we have also added 4 healthcare customers and 2 pharma customers. So these are the main attribute to improve our bottom line as well as our revenue.
Okay, that's a big growth in their profits, as you just saw on that bar chart. Mr. Tulsian, afternoon, the other stock I wanted to talk to you about was Cadila Healthcare. I remember you telling us about maybe less than a week or 10 days ago that the 2 stocks in the pharma space that you like are Dr. Reddy's and Cadila Healthcare that you would buy on a dip. And today we've got good news on Cadila. They've received that establishment inspection report. Can one still buy that stock after the 5% run-up?
See, Sonia, if you see the recent developments of this last 2 days, you can add the name of Alembic also. I think maybe about 3 months back, 4 months back, or maybe 6 months back, or maybe 1 year back, there was season of 483. And now I think it is a season of EIR. And I won't be surprising to see EIRs, coming in for many of the pharma companies. And in fact, that was the theme, apart from these two specific stocks which you have stated here, which were recommended by me. In fact, I said that probably the pharma, because when you have been taking a call on the share price as well as on the, in fact, I have been expecting this EIR for last maybe 1 month or so, and I won't be surprised to see that process getting repeated in many of the companies, and the kind of force at which the stocks gets re-rated. We have seen that happening in case of Lupin. It may see it is seeing some profit booking, but that may be a day's affair, and I'm keeping a positive view. Same thing for Alembic, same thing for Cadila, and I won't be surprised to see that happening in case of Arvindo, Glenmark, Wockard, and this process will keep on adding, maybe Stride Shashun. So I'm quite positive, and as I've said that 483 seem to be behind us, and now it is a time of EIR. So yes, keeping positive stance, and if one can, in fact, if you see the pharma experts, some of them, they have been expressing there are multiple 483s in case of many companies, but I don't think that, I agree that as a procedural you need to take each observations in its separately. You just cannot club all these together. But once the process has started, I think maybe at a diplomatic level or maybe at the company's level of having rectified the observations which were not seen of material impact, maybe the things were not seen so serious, there were no in data integrity kind of things. So I'm quite positive on all these stocks, going forward. And as I said, that these positive news flows will start to keep coming in many other stocks as well.
Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take a break on that note with the news that a lot of mid caps are running up against Snowman Logistics, 1% Beverages, as I said, Brooks Lab in the mid cap basket, GIC Housing, Gravitas. So a lot of stocks surging at this point in time. We'll take a break. Up next, Ramdev Agarwal of Motilal Oswal told us this morning that he's very bullish on the market in light of the recent decent monsoon progress, and the greed and fear factor is clearly now playing in market's favor. More on that conversation on the other side.
Also, our closing bell money control question of the day is: will underdogs Portugal pull off an upset win over France in the Euro Championship final? Well, so much action later this weekend. Log on to moneycontrol.com, post your responses there, and we'll read out some of the most interesting responses post 3:30 p.m. Okay, well, that's our money control question of the day. Because it's Friday, we've decided to talk about sports and that big final that's lined up on Sunday evening. But for now, we have our markets which are slightly subdued, so not moved much. But there are many stocks that are really buzzing. Look at the chart of Tube Investments. That stock, Murugappa Group company, has been doing very well and hit a fresh 52-week high in trade today. Tube Investments, in fact, it's gone from 400 to 530 or 520 in less than 3 months. So that's the kind of rally there. Pidilite, I've spoken about that one. Himmat Singh Seed is another one that's done very well, 3.5% higher today. And in the last 1 month, less than a month actually, it's gone from 200 to 260. So lots of stocks to talk about. Let's get back to our guests with that. I wanted to chat about some of these auto ancillary names with you, Varun. Names like Precall, Tube Investments, so many of these smaller stocks looking very good. Anything from that space that you like, where there's still money to be made or still more value?
I think as far as the auto space is concerned, definitely this year looks quite promising. I think the four-wheeler segment, especially the passenger car segment, will continue to show good volume growth. You would be expecting 12 to 15% kind of volume growth there. As far as the two-wheeler segment is concerned, we are clearly bullish on the premium motorcycle segment, which remains our favored play. Also in the I think two-wheeler segment, especially the bike segment, we would expect some kind of a revival in volume growth to the extent of 5 to 10% volume growth is possible this year. And a lot of ancillary companies, which are obviously suppliers to both the four-wheeler and the two-wheeler segment, will of course ride on this OEM sales, and of course with some more replacement sales coming in, they might be able to register even better earnings growth. So I think the overall market for the auto companies looks quite good this year.
Okay, Ashwini, a word on some of these logistics names, Snowman Logistics in particular, which has seen some decent gains, up 6% right now.
See, I think most of them are moving up because of GST expectation, etc. But they have moved up quite a bit. Snowman started from about $50. So I don't think these are great levels to get in. Also with Gati, etc. They've moved up quite a bit. But for the moment, it's in an uptrend, and when it corrects, say, closer to 75, 78, maybe you could look at accumulation.
Mr. Hussain, this has been your call for some time now that GST will pass in this session of Parliament, and you have been advising buying logistics stocks on all corrections. But at current levels, is it too late, or does the tactic still remain the same?
Anuj, I don't think that there is even late, buying the logistics stocks. But what my advice is that, one should start taking a little broader call. One should not really confine only on the logistics stock. But as I said, still you can buy the logistics stocks like Gati, All Cargo, Oricon Enterprise, Share Shipping, Snowman Logistics, TCI. There are umpteen number of stocks available in that space. But apart from that, in fact, there are many beneficiaries also. And even overall on the market, because if you really see the GST, once that gets, that starts looking certain, which I am confident, 99% that from 1st April, it will be seen as a reality, 1st April 2017. In fact, the revised estimates on GDP will start happening, because GDP can move up by 1.5%, 150 basis point. The kind of, pessimism or the criticism which now we are all seeing on the GDP, whether it's a realistic figure, this is just a GVA, I think those things will all be put behind. So I think it is very much necessary to take a broader call on the many of the direct beneficiaries of GST and overall on the market, because of the GST likely to get passed in this monsoon session.
Okay. Varun, what about the themes that you guys are recommending ahead of earnings season? What would you look out for in terms of pockets that could see either the bottoming of the downgrade cycle or good earnings this quarter?
We would expect very strong set of numbers from the consumer durable space. We have had a good summer. I think companies selling air conditioners, refrigerators, these are definitely going to see a strong uptick in earnings. Plus, I think if the GST does come about, there is going to be an additional benefit to some of these products. So that space definitely looks interesting. I think the agrochemical as a space also we would expect for the year as a whole. Of course, the monsoon was a little delayed, so Q1 might be a little muted. But for the year as a whole, we would expect agrochemical companies to deliver very strong earnings growth. So these are clearly the two themes we believe would do well in the mid-cap segment.
Okay, Mr. Hussain, any thoughts on the telecom space, on the noise around the CAG issue and the fact that we have seen big fall in stock prices today, 2 to 4% lower for all the 4 or 5 major telecom stocks?
See, Anuj, in fact, I don't keep a positive fundamental view, apart from this CAG news or maybe this telecom scam news, which has been raised by the Congress. Apart from that, even if you take, I don't think, or in fact, honestly, if you really ask me, I don't see any positive news, seen in the pipeline. With the kind of results which you have seen of Q4, and once you see the spectrum auction, which is likely to happen maybe in next couple of months, that will put another pressure on the liquidity of these companies and the kind of launch once we will be seeing on the Reliance Jio. Because if you have heard the statement of Sunil Mittal about a week back, he has clearly stated that post Reliance Jio there will be huge margin pressure on all these telecom companies. So honestly, I don't see any reason for taking a positive call. This is just a very small news. Even if the the revenue diversion or the non-disclosure or not proper disclosure, definitely those things will create a negative impact. But that is seen just a minor instances. If you see the broader ones like liquidity crunch further happening on these telecom stocks will really be seen quite severe in time to come.
Okay, well, there's a bonus issue coming your way if you own the shares of PFC. The board will be meeting on the 14th of July to consider that, and that stock is spiking up now, almost inching towards the 200 rupee mark. Look at that. But before we get you some more macro opinion, Rajat, just wanted to come to you on some of the cement names. Today we have 3 cement stocks hitting new highs, India Cements, Ambuja, and a smaller one, Ramco Cements. Any stock that you would trade incrementally now?
I would say India Cements to me looks quite good. In fact, the way it has moved up and it has crossed certain resistance levels. So if it were to stay above, say 115, 119 to about 123 would be the next target. And generally I've seen that the group stocks move in tandem. I mean, Pony Road and India Cement, you will see that they are both showing a lot of momentum. So there is momentum to be traded. Ambuja has already moved up, and it's better to play India Cement now rather than Ambuja. So I would not take part in Ambuja, but rather bet on India Cements.
Okay, guys, stay on with us. We'll just come back in a bit. Let's hear out from Ramdev Agarwal of Motilal Oswal Financial. We spoke to him earlier in the day. He says it is a good time to buy good quality stocks.
Okay, we'll take a break on that note. Up next, we'll get you the check on the mood across dealing rooms today on the other side of this break. Welcome back. Well, the advance decline ratio is in favor of declines today. That's happened after a long time, even though the mid-cap index will not reflect that. But a lot of high beta names have corrected today, led by JP Associates and Unitech. Both of them, in fact, now moving closer to the low point of the day. There's also Reliance Communications as well, where we've seen declines. So some of the high beta names have seen some bit of profit taking. Ashwini Gujral will now tell us what to buy or sell today for a reverse trade on Monday. Ashwini, so buys or sells?
See, more sells. Reliance Industries can be sold with a stop at about 985. Look for targets of 950, 955. NIIT Tech you can sell with a stop of 510, target of 478. And housing stocks have done particularly well today. So LIC Housing is a buy with a stop of 500, target of 540.
Okay, so there are some calls coming in. Looks like we're going to end up with another flat day, something that we're used to through the week. But let's get in Nimesha to tell us what the dealers are talking about. Nimesh, which way is the wind blowing?
Well, Sunan, it looks like there is a bit of profit booking now coming in. In fact, I said in my link yesterday as well that there is a word of caution out there from the dealing desk as well. Clearly, from a flows point of view, there is no genuine buying coming in by the larger institutions, whether it's the FIs or the DIs. So clearly, there is a word of caution. There is a word of caution from the larger institution as well. We spoke to we tracked the global flows as well. Even they are shifting towards safer haven. So from a tactical point of view, maybe it looks like there is a bit of profit booking coming in, and so be it, largely in the mid caps and small cap, because they are vulnerable now for a sell off. So one needs to be a little cautious in the mid caps and small caps from here on. Technically, 8350 is acting as a very strong resistance on the Nifty. That probably will play out at least in the near term. But my sense is if that is taken out on the upside, then for this series, there is still a bet that probably the Nifty can go to 8550, 8600 level as well. So there is the street seems to be a little divided at this point in time. Bit of word of caution out there from the dealing desk, but it looks like markets are going to be range bound with some bit of profit booking in mid caps and small caps. So that's the general sense. However, in terms of flows, it's a quiet day. The volumes are on the higher side, but that's because of some large blocks which have happened in stocks like Grasim. In 1%, there was a big block of 15 lakh. So the volumes looks a little higher, but beneath that, the activity is on the lower side from both the FIs and the DIs.
All right, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. Well, it's again been a day of individual stocks. Pull out the intraday chart of Auto Light if we can. And that stock has surged all of a sudden. In fact, it's almost moving to circuit at this point in time. Let's see if we have a chart of that one. Auto Light is the stock I'm talking about. That's Auto Line, but Auto Light has also done well. And the other one is Brooks Lab. That's actually at circuit right now. A lot of mid-cap pharma stocks have done well. That's Auto Light. All of a sudden, 18% surge. Brooks Lab is the other one. I think it's circuit up now on Brooks Labs, and that one has also moved really with huge gains in last 5 or 6 minutes of trade. Talking about that, in fact, here's Varinder with a list of buzzing stocks. Varinder?
Well, a lot of stocks which are moving up. Adi Finechem is up, which is up 20%. Elegant Marbles for the second day running, up nearly 20%. TGV Banquet again, gaining nearly 15-20%. Smiths and Founders, Celebrity Fashions, Mangalam Organics, good set of numbers over there by the company. Gravita, Hind Rectifiers, Wamshi Rubber, Eastern Trades, I Street Networks, Excel Info, Sunstar Realty, Pony Sugar. This is one stock which has been strong in the entire sugar pack. Expro India, Maruti Infra, Choddia Food Products, HOV Services. These stocks which are moving up. You mentioned about some of these small cap pharma companies. Along with Brooks Lab, you also have Bliss, GVS Pharma and Lincoln Pharma, which are buzzing today, up over 10%. Look at some of the mid-cap gainers, 8K Miles and Zealand. Clearly, results impact. Both the stocks are trading up over 10%. Kirloskar Brothers is surging on good volumes. And a new name, which is ISGEC Heavy Engineering. Not a small company, over 5,000 market cap. It's one stock which is gaining nearly 6-7% today. Apart from that, Snowman Logistics, BF Utility and GSE Housing are also gaining in the market.
Okay, all right, Varinder, thanks for that. That's some interesting news coming in there. The Kerala government has imposed a fat tax of 14% on junk food. World over, this is very common. This tax is imposed to discourage unhealthy eating and discourage junk food. Not that anybody's going to stop eating it because there's an additional tax. But look at this Jubilant Food. I mean, the classic example there, there's a sell-off.
I think more importantly, they should put the, like in US, it's mandatory at every restaurant for every dish to have the calorie levels and fats. I think more than Jubilant Food, I think Westlife is something. I think this is on burger and pizza. So Westlife is more important. But I mean, of course, we have to know how much is Kerala. This is an interesting market. So that's Westlife down about 5.5%. But that's just one state. But it will be interesting to see if more states also follow this, but that's a fat tax.
There's apparently this tax imposed on ready-to-eat foods as well. There are some companies, right, that make ready-to-eat foods too that are listed. I don't recollect at this point, but we need to find out those companies, and I guess there could be some impact there. There's a 5% tax on some other products, I think, coconut oil or something.
I think some oil product is also there. So that's also, but that's just one state. So let's.
Would you stop eating junk food if there was a fat tax? I wouldn't.
No, I mean, I think McDonald's has discouraged me after started showing the calorie count for every food. So I've cut down already, but yeah, if there's tax, I'll cut down further. I mean, if it's introduced in Mumbai, yes.
Okay, that's price sensitive.
It's already very expensive, and you would want to watch your wallet.
Okay, that's price sensitive, Anuj, for you, but I wouldn't mind. I would just continue. Not that I eat too much fatty food anyway, but let's get Sanjeev Bhasin into this conversation to find out what he's doing with some of these stocks. Sanjeev, hi, afternoon. First, a word on some of these stocks, Westlife, Jubilant Food. I mean, for Jubilant Food, the bad news just refuses to subside. What do you do with a stock like this?